find that the Granite Group was operating in that sort of collaborative fashion in advance of COVID, or did COVID really accelerate that collaborative feedback loop sort of culture?
No, it definitely existed before, which helped. And we have a culture of communication and a culture of trust, and entrepreneurial is one of our core values. So our local managers are really empowered to make most decisions at their local level and the decisions that are best for their team. So that was in place, and that really helped us.
Tracie, what advice would you give to our listeners who like the sound of communications of culture and feedback and empowerment and entrepreneurship, but aren't necessarily sure how to develop and build those cultures?
So it starts at the top, and I really believe everybody owns culture. And I don't love it when we see a chief people and culture officer, because culture is part of the fabric of everything we do and everybody's responsibility, and certainly set from the executive team, but it's not one person's responsibility. It's part of the job to create an environment that that fosters collaboration and that is in the best interest of people. But it really starts with the CEO, the president, whoever's leading that organization. If and in our case, our CEO Bill Condren is an excellent communicator, and he is, and this is critical for us, in our 50 locations all of the time. People actually see him regularly. People actually see me regularly. And for us, because we're a face-to-face business, it's really hard to build that trust and create that culture of communication with people not seeing you face to face. So that's the best way that we get things done. So I think somebody who's in a position like mine, or somebody who's listening to this, really take a look at your top executive, and are there areas for improvement there? Because there could be some areas that could be improved to create that culture of communication, but it's going to be hard if there's not support from the top. Everything's going to be hard if there isn't support from the top.
Yeah, I think that's a great message. And we see that with leaders all the time. They say communication's important, but then they sit in 9 hours of meetings a day and never speak to their team. And we get that, right? Because if you're at the, senior manager level or director level and you're expected to be in these meetings, and that's what's coming from the top, and you don't have time to speak to your team, it's hard to build those channels, right? And so we work a lot with teams to say, okay, how do you get out of that, right? Like, how do you make an hour or have coffee meetings early in the morning, or, just kind of make that time for your team, because that, as a leader, is really your most important job. Your most important job is leading your team and empowering them to kind of get to the next step, right, in their careers. And so just love hearing that, and love hearing that you guys are out and seeing the team. And when you couldn't be, you were taking their phone calls and sending the daily messages. And I imagine sending a daily video message is quite the lift in terms of effort, but really proves to your team that they matter and that you want to have that communication.